I've tried.
delve into nachos. Or whatever, brownies and nachos. Now we are.
All right. Good evening and welcome to the October 9th, 2014 Conservation Commission meeting. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Fred Pearson called and said he would not be able to make the meeting this evening. And since Fred is absent, I would like to appoint Bob as a voting member for our meeting this evening. Sue, could you do the roll call for us, please?
Bob Gaston.
Here.
Bruce Pecto.
Here.
Present.
Jeff Goldblum.
Present.
Eric Lugo.
Present.
Tony Weinstein.
Here.
Andrew Frank.
Here.
Thank you. Next is public comment. No public, so we're okay there. Approval of minutes for the September 11th, 2014 meeting. Sue sent those out to us, and it was quite a while ago. I'm sure we've all had a chance to look at them. Anyone have any changes, corrections, additions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as written. Thank you, Jeff. Any further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
6-0.
Yep, 6-0. Next up is the treasurer's report. Eric, you emailed those out a couple days
Yes,
ago?
I emailed those out, and just something to bring to your attention. If you look under the part-time recording secretary account, you'll notice that we've expended 56% of the money. We all know why, because Sue's been catching up on the minutes and stuff like that, but obviously, as you project out 9 more months, we'll be over budgeted in that account.
Right.
So I just thought I'd make the group aware of that, that's all.
Thank you.
What page is that on?
That is page 1 of current year expenditures.
So we've already expended $566.25, and our budget value is $1,000. So we're likely to exceed that budget value.
Well, there's a lot of catch-up to do, so.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
One item, we approved $10,000 for the culvert
Yes.
last month, so you might just want to make a note on your balance sheet of that, too.
Okay, anything for committee and subcommittee reports? Anything from the town council, Tony?
Nothing that I think would be.
Well, didn't they approve the Moose?
Culvert, the
culvert. Yeah, didn't they have a discussion about the culvert the other night? And
Steve
they
updated basically what
update
happened
them,
at the
yeah,
conservation.
yeah, and they were okay with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, there wasn't a vote or anything like
No.
that. I mean, he just gave us an update about what happened at the Conservation Commission and that was happening. Budget season is upon us, and so I don't know, does this go through the town budget? Like I don't know how,
No.
or the appropriations like for the recording secretary?
Yes.
So I mean, that's something that if that needs to be increased, I can bring that to the town council. We meet.
I don't think it
25th.
does. I mean, we
Okay.
talked about it, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before. Essentially, the $1,000 is a reasonable number. We're going to overexpend this year because we had a bunch of meetings that we were catching up on.
We underexpended
And-
last year.
And you're right, we underexpended last year, so we're going to overexpend this year. And if we were to request more, it would be for
Right.
the year that starts next July. So it wouldn't help us any with this year anyway. So it, yeah, seems like the numb's a reasonable number.
Okay.
Do we need to make a special request to cover the overage?
No,
They just pay it?
yes. It gets shuffled around.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
So the town council didn't need to give permission to the town administrator to do the application for the,
No.
okay, that was one of the things that we were
Yeah.
curious about after last meeting.
And just so everyone hears the same word, so the Conservation Commission did apply for the Moose Plate grant. The application was essentially drafted by the Nature Conservancy, and then because well, officially it's the town that's applying for it, and therefore Steve Fournier, the town administrator, is the one who signed on the grant application. And so that grant application has been submitted in the period between our meeting in September and this current meeting.
And then I guess my understanding is that if there's further work that needs to be done and more money needs to be appropriated, then it would come to the town council. So,
Phase 2,
phase 2.
Yep.
or
Is there-
phase 1 if you want to give money, right?
Just sort of a related question, and I don't know if we can answer it here, but does the town have sort of a plan to look at the culverts on a regular basis and sort of assess? I know some towns do that, on like a cyclical basis. They'll check, subcontract out and check the culverts rather than wait for something to happen. Does Newmarket do that at all, or? Just curious.
I know there is at least a plan for the roads. Now, whether or not that includes the culverts, I am not sure.
Okay.
I think they have to maintain things based on, you probably know about like the 100-year flood data. Do they have to update as that is changed?
I don't know if that forces them to do anything.
Right, well, probably not forces them,
Right.
but.
I'm pretty sure they checked the culvert because of that, just because of the
Yeah,
100-year
because
flood
they
thing.
changed the one,
That's what caused the big
Lang's-
problem with the flooding in the bowl. A lot of it was the culverts were blocked up, jammed up with
too
debris.
small.
And, yeah, the problems there, so I'm pretty sure that Mike
That-
Malasky's crew is checking on now on that. I would think they would be anyway.
Yeah, you often, just from my experience, you often find that towns, not Newmarket specific, towns in general tend to neglect their drainage systems, their storm drainage systems. Just from my experience of opening lots and lots of catch basins and trying to locate lots and lots of buried, so a lot of culverts end up buried, and a lot of catch basins end up full of silt and sand in many towns. And I haven't done work in Newmarket lately, so I'm not sure how the status of how things are in this town. But I know that it always seems like culverts and catch basins, which may require yearly maintenance, don't seem to always get it.
Well, they go around with the truck with a big goose neck and they go down and suck out the debris in the catch basins. I think that's what you call a catch basin, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing there. They do that, on Packett's Falls Road, and I've seen them in downtown, and I've seen them.
Yeah, they did the
Yeah.
village this year.
Yeah,
A lot of towns do every other year.
I'm saying, I don't know if they
Okay.
have a plan or what they do though.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. So, nothing else on any of the subcommittee reports? Hearing none. Chairman's report. So we've received a bunch of mail. Most of it is noted on here, but one that we received since we sent out the agenda is the University of New Hampshire and the Cooperative Extension are having some seminars for forest laws for municipal officials. There's one November 6th in Enfield and one November 18th in Chesterfield, and they are free. And we got a flyer and a letter, so I'm going to send this down to Bruce. And anyone who's, just pass them back along. So anyone who's interested in going to those should feel free to do so. Next up is the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions annual meeting. We've mentioned this one a couple of times. It's on November 1st. We've gotten another flyer. This flyer actually explicitly lists the different concurrent sessions and what's going on in each one of those. So again, I'm going to send that down that way and it can get passed back around. And if anyone's interested, the commission will pay for the admission for any of the commissioners who want to go to any of those sessions. The next one is we received a letter from the State of New Hampshire Wetlands Council, and I believe I scanned this and emailed it out so that everyone should have seen a copy of this. Basically, the owners of the Durham Boat Company were requesting an appeal as it relates to the 108 shoulder widening project. And so the letter states that on, quote, on September 9th, 2014, the New Hampshire Wetlands Council accepted the above captioned appeal. The Attorney General will assign a hearing officer who may schedule a pre-hearing conference or rule upon or schedule hearings on any outstanding motions, blah, 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 blah. So the bottom line is there's an appeal before the New Hampshire Wetlands Council as it relates to the 108 shoulder widening project. No action required on our part. They're just keeping us informed. The other letter that we received is from the Newmarket Environmental Services. They sent a letter and an attached map, and this is related to excavation near 8 Bay Road in the tidal buffer zone to determine the structural integrity of the Bay Road sewer force main for future planning. So basically there's a sewer line that goes from Bay Road over towards the mills, and it goes underneath the river. And so in the tidal zone, they have to do a little bit of digging to check the integrity of what's there, and depending on what they get from that, they'll move forward. So all work is expected to occur within the utility easement on 2 separate days between October 12th and November 14th, 2014. Upon completion of the project, the excavation will be backfilled per regulations, et cetera, et cetera. And again, this letter and associated information was all sent out to all of us. So everyone should have a copy of that already. We also received a letter from the Lamprey River Advisory Committee. They were copying us on a letter that they sent to the Shoreland Protection Department of the Department of Environmental Services. And it relates to construction project at 6 Great Cove Road in Newmarket. So again, there's no action required on our part. Lamprey River Advisory Committee was just weighing in on that particular project. Yep.
I think did you send this around?
Yeah, it should be. I sent out I think it was a 5-page scanned document Tuesday. That was at the end of that. Next is we've gotten 2 different mailings from the Southeast Land Trust of New Hampshire. One is their, I'm going to send this down that way. One is their, I think it's a quarterly newsletter. And the other is a flyer announcing their fall foliage fundraiser, which is going to be on October 24th in Portsmouth. So again, I'll send this along. The fall foliage fundraiser is also, I think, officially when the Southeast Land Trust and the Stratford Rivers Conservancy, which is a land trust that was based in Dover, will be officially merging. So that's a kind of a celebration of the merger as well as a fundraiser. And then lastly, if you remember correctly, Shanda Park was used earlier this year for a wedding. We received a very nice thank you letter and some photos. Dear Conservation Commission members, thank you for allowing us to use the lovely Shanda Park for our wedding on May 25th. We've included a few photos to show how perfect the park was as a backdrop for our special day. Your work helps keep Newmarket a beautiful place to live, work, and celebrate. Thank you, Sarah and Bryce Karen. So again, I'll send that down and pass it back around. So very, very nice to get a thank you note, and Shanda Park does look nice as a backdrop for the wedding. So that's it for the chairman's report. Moving on to old and new business. Yeah, so the grant application for the culvert upgrade study at Lumberland Creek and Bay Road, as I said, that grant has been applied for. I believe it will be on the order of 6 months until we hear back on whether or not the grant was accepted and whether or not we'll be receiving anything. So it's kind of a big hurry up and then wait.
At the way.
Okay, and then next up is easement monitoring. So this past Sunday morning, the Silverman Schneer property was monitored.
Yep.
Anything to say about that?
Not a lot. Eric and his wife Lou walked the property with or myself and Eric and Lou's wife walked the property. There was basically, it looked identical to it did last year, except things have decomposed a little bit more. The blowdowns aren't looking as intimidating. In a few years, maybe they'll be crossable. Over by the westerly boundary,
Yep.
on the west side of Neal Mill Road. We did notice some buckthorn growing, some glossy buckthorn growing in the area along the along the northerly boundary, kind of along the horse farm, towards the kind of in the triangle you would make if you took where the river and the extension of the stone wall meet. You kind of went down a little to the south and kind of in that floodplain there. There's some glossy buckthorn growing down in there, which isn't very good to see. But didn't notice any encroachments, any cutting of any sorts on the property.
Yeah, good.
The only thing we noted was that the cemetery was looking a little more run down than it was last year. That was one thing I was wondering if folks were interested in possibly trying to contact the folks who have rights to the cemetery and see if they even know that they have rights, and maybe they like it that way, or if they want to maintain it, if they knew they had relatives there. Don't really know with an old cemetery. If people even know they have rights to it anymore. So I didn't know if, as a commission, if we were interested in sending a letter to the folks that own it, or have rights to it, I should say.
Do they have names on the stones?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's in the deed.
look at
The
this
deed
map?
shows the deed shows the specific names of the people whose heirs have rights, and the plan mentions it too. The heirs of James Bennett and Paschal Hall. I believe you say Paschal. Paschal Hall. They're heirs.
You know, the Veterans Committee might be interested if any of them are veterans of past wars. They would be interested in the names on the stones.
Yeah.
But just knowing where the graveyard is, it's important to know where it is, so they can go out and investigate it themselves.
Yeah, and it being is this a full public access easement? I think it is, but we don't offer, so people can go out there to it then. Because I was gonna say, if it wasn't a regular full public access easement, the only folks that would actually have a right to walk out to the cemetery, would be the heirs of those folks and the town, because we have an easement over it.
Right.
But we can go out there, you say?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can go out
Yeah,
there.
okay.
We can also, might be able to find out who.
I
who
can
their
work
heirs
on
are,
that.
Who their
I
heirs
know the
are.
Historic Society is having a meeting
Yeah.
on the 27th. They're talking about graves, and like you said, the Sons of American Legion put flags around on the veterans, so
Yeah.
it's quite possible they already know about that, or maybe they don't, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I can bring it up with them, because I'm going to go
Yeah,
to that to
that'd be
talk
good.
about it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm not saying it has to be cleaned up or even needs to be cleaned up or.
Well, if they're aware of
If
it.
people want
Yeah.
it to be cleaned up, then they should. I mean, I definitely respect the nature retaking the land aspect of it too. It's interesting.
Well, it has historic
Also-
value, I
It
think.
does have historic value as well.
Yeah, that stone wall does.
Beautiful. Definitely. So that was basically it.
Yeah.
Very nice
Beautiful
walk.
day.
Beautiful
Beautiful day, nice walk.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
perfect day.
The company was iffy, but
Yeah, sure. All the water on the.
I know, I wanted to
branches.
go,
That's
but
what
I'm
you're
not a
talking
morning
about, right?
person.
How long did it take you to do the walk?
It's like 2 hours and
2
10
hours,
minutes.
Yeah, wow, nice.
But we took our time.
I'd like to mark
Yeah,
some on
definitely.
Oh, sure.
We didn't run.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I was up in Conway, I was gonna go, I wanted to go to that, but I couldn't.
I know, I did too, and
Yeah.
it's too early, honestly.
well, looks like we got others, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the next up is the Piscassic River Loiselle property.
On the
And-
18th.
Yeah, on the 18th. Do we have a time for that?
9 o'clock in the morning,
Thank you, Bruce.
meet at the parking area.
Okay.
So Piscassic is 9
Yeah.
a.m. on the
Yeah.
18th.
It's Saturday morning.
And then I think the next one is the Audubon Smith Sisters property.
Did we even put a?
We didn't, yeah, we didn't,
Didn't
no,
think
we
we got
didn't.
that far, did we?
We didn't, no, but I'd like to do that right now if we can. I could probably do, I could do that one on the 25th.
The Smith Sisters?
Yeah. Or we could push it out into November.
You can do the 25th.
Anyone have preferences? Okay, let's say October 25th.
What time?
Is that a Saturday or Sunday?
That's a
Saturday.
Saturday.
9 o'clock?
There's a budget meeting from 9 to
A budget meeting on Saturday?
3. Town council. It's not budget.
Okay. Oh, okay, it's 10, yeah, all right.
Did you say 9?
Workshop.
Yeah, let's say 9. And that one, we usually park at the Audubon parking area that is what used to be the driving range. And then we just walk up 152 a little bit.
Mhm.
Because there really isn't any good place to park.
Yeah, it's just sort of
right
a
at the
turnaround,
property.
right?
Yeah.
Last year when I did that, I noted the girdling of the trees in the back section. I made a note on the
Okay.
map.
Yeah.
Seemed to be the first time it was ever noted. I wasn't sure who did it. Checking around, no one volunteered that they were the ones that did it.
The curling, like, was it done quite some time ago?
It looked like it was done recently,
Oh, okay. Because I thought we noticed.
you know, within 2 years.
I thought we had seen some trees way out back that had been girdled.
It was
Like on the far, far back.
on this side of the creek.
Oh, yeah, I didn't, yeah, that's something different than I was thinking. There was like, just like 1 or 2 of them way out in the back that were.
And,
Kill the trees?
well, that's what it's meant to do, yeah.
That's what it will do eventually.
Yeah, right, you cut off the food supply to the top section, so
Yeah.
they die in place. I don't know if it was done by the Audubon or,
I don't
They'd
know.
cop to it if they did it, probably.
I would think.
Yeah. Yeah, we can include it in the
So I
monitoring
put, it
report,
was in
and there it
it was
is.
in the report,
Right,
so I don't know if you
that's
ever
good
heard
enough.
anything from it or not.
I never did.
I never did.
Was it near the boundary? Or is it
No.
like out in the middle of the?
It was in the middle of the field, there's an outcropping of trees. You know, maybe it was done before it was conveyed to the Audubon and us.
Yeah, who knows?
Timing is tough to tell.
Yep. And then the last two, the New Roots Farm and the Wigan Farm, I sent an email to the Canteras at New Roots Farm, asking them, you know, what sort of timing might work well for them, and haven't heard back. And Wigan Farm, I sent something, Fish and Game. has some sort of easement on the Wigan farm, so the last 2 years, we've been able to do a joint monitoring visit, and that's been helpful. And they're supposed to get back to me either tomorrow or sometime next week, so I think at this point, we can delay those until November, or when I hear something back, we can
If
send
we
something
can do it in
out.
the
and
later
figure it out.
half of November, I'd like to be part of the Wigan Farms.
Okay.
I've done it 2 or 3 times now, so
Yeah.
there's a few areas we always need to check.
Yep. Yeah, so we don't need to schedule those now, but
Okay.
they're in process, and we're in communication with people to try and coordinate appropriately.
I know sometimes the Wigan Farm one kind of jumps up and you kind of run out there, right? I think last year maybe that ended up happening because someone from Fish and Game was available.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you know that like a night before, if you shoot out a quick email, that'd be great, because I might
Sure.
try to take a minute out of work, because I'd like to kind of get Fish and Game's take on walking the property, see what they kind of look
Yeah,
at.
sure. And that's, yeah, I mean, one of the tricky parts on the Wigan farm is, in order to coordinate with Fish and Game, it's usually during a workday. So that makes it a little tricky sometimes.
Definitely.
So we'll see how that works out. Okay, anything else? I think that takes care of easement monitoring. Anything else under old and new business?
Are we gonna burn that brush pile at Wigan Farm?
Yeah, but we can't do it until the
winter?
ground's covered with
Yeah.
snow, yeah.
Should we cover that with a tarp?
Probably.
I may have an extra tarp hanging around. Maybe when we do the easement, we could,
Yeah,
Yeah, cover it
just
up.
a side trip to cover that up. so.
Yeah, sure. It'd be easy. Okay.
I have under old and new business, not
Yeah.
related to
Sure.
Wigan Farm. The turtle signs, did you hear back about if the DPW is going to take those down, or?
Well, I brought it up again, and it's on Rick's to-do list. So, but then when I talked to Drew, when did I see you? A month or 2 ago?
Yeah,
maybe?
probably a month ago.
So what is the time frame? Because originally I had said to July, which I mean, obviously we're well past July, so.
Anytime.
Um,
Anytime.
We're past due.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I think it's written down in some of the stuff that Jessica has sent out, and we can look it up and get a firm date. But certainly at this point, they can either be taken down or covered.
Yeah, I think I asked Jessica via email, and she sent out the suggestions to us. So it's I know she circulated at that time, and like it was later in July, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's
And then the other time to take it down would be in September, right? Or late September.
So I can follow up with Steve again and see
Oh,
where we're
maybe
at
she
with
has
that.
it.
Yeah, if you
You
would,
have it?
please.
Yeah, it's up in late April, early May, closed down by the first week or so in August.
Right,
Late
that's what I thought.
July.
About August.
Which were and those were the dates, well,
Yeah.
late July to early August. Those were the dates that I had given to Steve. So I just wanted to double check, but.
Okay.
One other thing, Drew.
Yes.
The easement monitoring, you're gonna email me for the Piscassic Loisel property.
Yep.
If you could do that again with a different program,
Sure.
not able to do the word perfect very, it's a lot of work to get that out of there.
Nice. Did I send those
Was
out
it a
as
PDF?
Did I send those out as PDF last year? I know I sent the
I
PDF
think-
map that I had some stuff labeled on the
Oh,
map
well, yes, for the,
for Piscassic Loisel.
well, no, when I did the Smith Sisters, that came through PDF.
No, I know after I did Piscassic Loisel last year, I put some markings on it saying this is what I saw here and here in specific
Right.
spots in the route that we walked. And then I know I emailed that PDF around. I can send it around.
If you could, that way I'll have something to go by when I do it.
Report.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
I can even print it if you want to print it.
If you have a chance, but if you know, don't go out of your way. If you have it printed, great.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else under old and new business?
Are Are we supposed, if someone's getting a shoreline permit, we don't have review of that? That was just a question I had. I can't remember. If they're not impacting a protected area that we have jurisdiction over. I didn't know if all shoreline permits had like this one that the Lamprey River, that those folks commented on. Like we see all dock permits because they're shoreland. I just didn't know if that should have also come through us for review and didn't.
I don't know.
It's kind of interesting. It was in town, required a shoreline permit. I had one other minor thing that I was thinking of with the excavation to check the force main.
Yes.
I know that force main comes out right behind the mills there, and then I believe it gravities down to the sewer treatment plant. I've seen in other, like in Portsmouth, I know in some of the really low areas like that are kind of prone to flooding, that they put in so the manhole lid sits down in the rim of the structure, then you take that off and it's just an open hole down to the trough of the sewage flowing through it. In a lot of low-lying areas, they put a seal, like below the regular cover that you see, it's like a sealed cover with a gasket that's bolted, so if you get a flooding situation, it doesn't infiltrate into the sewer. And those down there didn't have them a couple of years ago, and I don't know if they've had them put in, but I think it might not be a bad idea. I don't know if that work that they're doing down there is simply isolated to just checking that one spot, and
You're talking about the one at the end of Water Street?
Yeah, there's a couple through there.
I've seen that one that far off, the water coming out of it, so much extra storm water coming down through there.
Was it a sewer one or a drain
Yeah.
one? It was a sewer one?
It was nasty.
Yeah.
But the water infiltrates the sewer line in other spots, so.
Right.
I'm sure.
It gets down through a lid that's higher up, and that's
Right.
lower. Because that's the lower end, like that might be one of the last couple manholes before the treatment plant.
I think it's
like
the
one or
last one
two.
before the pumping station that pumps it up over, yeah.
Those ones, yeah, I didn't know if that was something that, I think I might have brought it up actually when they were redoing the mills, when they were in here for permits, but.
Okay, is there anything we need to do to take action on that, or?
Well, I was just bringing up, I didn't know if we don't have that much direct contact with Rick, and I think that would be who we would talk to about it. And
For Sean?
Sean,
That'd
probably,
be
actually,
Sean.
Sean, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean. True. I don't know, I mean,
Tony, can you convey a concern?
I can.
I don't know if that makes sense to people. I mean, I don't know how expensive those are, or to put in. I mean, it might take rebuilding the top of the structure, which might be saved for when they need to rebuild the structure itself, so.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it just popped in my head when we were talking about them working on that line down there, and I didn't know the extent of whatever they're doing. That's just why I mentioned it now.
Sure.
Yep.
I mean, I could see it being one of those beneficial environmental things that, just like the culvert on Bay Road, where if the town was gonna be interested in doing some work down there to fix those, where we maybe like to have a little input and saying, maybe you guys can try to use these if you were.
Speaking of the culvert, Bay Road, I don't know if anybody's been out on 33 with the new developments going in by the old campground. They brought the road out to 33 through the field, and they built what I thought was similar to what they wanted to do on Bay Road. It was about a 4-foot square culvert out of, what looked like foundation walls, and then a cap over it. It was pretty interesting to watch, day by day as it progressed, but, and it looks like it has a live bottom, similar to what they were talking about for Bay Road, so. Looked pretty straightforward. I don't know if you noticed that in your travel, but It only took them about a week to do. It was completely done, finished, and graded over, and the road was in.
Okay, thanks. All right, anything else? Motion to adjourn? So
Second.
moved.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Wow.
Abstentions?
I think you broke the record, Drew.
Well done,
No.
thank you one and all.
Jeff, would you tell me,
Hey, we're all set upstairs.